Around 8 p.m., the TV woman stopped talking to listen to her earphone. She then said that city officials were reporting that the levee had broken at Central City Park, but that she and her crew would stay put because it was too dangerous to move closer to film it. I didn't need their cameras. Just the year before, I had watched the Mississippian flood, and many of us I know watched over and over again that video clip shot from a helicopter as a levee broke next to a 2-story white farmhouse, the muddy waters bearing that house away like a clumsy boat. Now those things were happening here. I replayed that footage in my mind's eye, seeing a wall of water sweeping through the treetops, demolishing the bandstand and the long building, sweeping the round building off its brick foundation, even carrying away the rings for elephants. I wailed and cried, how could the river do this to me? No more news was forthcoming. All I knew was that the levee had broken, and that was all that mattered. What I didn't realize at the time was that the levee break was a blessing in disguise. the Ocmulgee was no longer straitjacketed between levee and interstate. Now the flood could do what it was supposed to do, what it had done for millions of years, spread out and dissipate in the floodplain. As the waters receded, damage upriver from the bridge was astounding. Macon's water treatment plant had been completely submerged, knocking out the municipal water supply for nearly 3 weeks. Although my sister's house was close to the river, it was situated on the side of a hill, so she had to contend only with water in her backyard. Some of her neighbors had it to the first floor ceiling. Years later, studies analyzing the flood suggested that the damage Macon suffered upriver was worse than it should have been, because the Ocmulgee flood waters channeled into that bottleneck of levee and interstate had nowhere to go but up. Regardless, the levee has been rebuilt so that industries in the floodplain can continue to benefit from lower insurance rates. Just last year, trees that had grown on the levee over many years were removed to keep them from undermining its integrity. Consequently, Macon faces the same potential for disaster once more. This sort of thinking reminds me of what Charles Thomas, a guide on the island of St. Martin in the Eastern Caribbean, told me during a visit there in 2010. The island sits squarely in the path of hurricanes that repeatedly undo the works of man. Mr. Thomas was very well versed about the cultural and environmental history of the island. Of all the things he had to say during the day I spent with him, these are the words I wrote down. When nature comes back, she comes back looking for her land. Why should the Ocmulgee be any different? And what about the park? I might have found I had only memories left, but unlike other people who lost so much, what I thought I had lost is all still there. The levee broke at the narrowest point in the bottleneck, downstream from the park at a metal recycling yard. While the force of the water carried away huge containers of scrap steel, there was no Niagara moment for the park as I had imagined. The floodwaters rose around the buildings and the bandstand, much as they had in 1881. Central City Park became Central City Lake for a while, but it's all still there, even down to the last elephant ring. If you visit Macon now, you won't see any signs of the flood. Instead, just across the Otis Redding Bridge, high on the bluff where the old warehouse used to stand, is a park with a statue of Otis smiling and playing his guitar next to his bridge, his river, and mine.